I spent $1,000 on my best friend's wedding favors. She refused to pay and uninvited me. What I discovered at her Hawaiian wedding will shock you. I, 32F, find myself in a complicated situation with my best friend Maria, 31F, and our mutual friend Steve, 33M. The three of us have been close since our college days at State University, where we bonded over late-night study sessions and shared dreams of making it big in the city. Maria and I met during freshman orientation. We clicked instantly, bonding over our shared love for vintage fashion and indie music. Steve joined our duo a year later when we all ended up in the same marketing class. He was the class clown, always ready with a witty comment or a silly prank to lighten the mood during stressful exam periods. After graduation, we all moved to the city together, sharing a tiny 2-bedroom apartment to save on rent. Those early years were tough but fun. We'd pool our meager entry-level salaries for Friday night takeout and cheap wine, spending hours talking about our hopes and dreams for the future. As the years went by, we all started to find our footing in our careers. Maria landed a job at a prestigious PR firm, Steve started his own graphic design business, and I worked my way up to become a marketing manager at a tech startup. Despite our busy lives, we always made time for our weekly dinner tradition, rotating cooking duties and catching up on each other's lives. Everything changed when Maria met Ryan, 34M, at a work event 3 years ago. Ryan was charming, successful, and came from a wealthy family. Maria was smitten from the start. As their relationship progressed, we saw less and less of Maria. Our weekly dinners became monthly, then bi-monthly. Steve and I tried to be understanding, knowing how exciting new love can be, but we couldn't help feeling a bit left behind. Last year, Ryan proposed to Maria during a romantic getaway to Paris. Maria was over the moon, and of course, she asked me to be her maid of honor. I was thrilled to accept, eager to reconnect with my best friend and help her plan her dream wedding. Maria and Ryan decided on a destination wedding in Hawaii, scheduled for this summer. The planning process was intense. Maria had always been a perfectionist, but wedding planning brought out a level of obsession I'd never seen in her before. She wanted everything to be Instagram perfect, from the invitations to the table settings. As maid of honor, I threw myself into my duties. I organized a beautiful bridal shower at Maria's favorite rooftop bar, complete with custom cocktails and a photo booth. For her bachelorette party, I arranged a weekend spa getaway for our closest girlfriends. It was expensive, but I wanted Maria to have the best experience possible. About 3 months before the wedding, Maria approached Steve and me with a request. She wanted us to create personalized gift bags for each guest, filled with local Hawaiian treats and handmade items. She envisioned these as a way to welcome guests to the island and thank them for making the trip. Steve and I agreed, thinking it would be a fun project to work on together. We spent countless evenings and weekends researching Hawaiian culture, sourcing local products, and crafting unique items. We ordered custom-made kukui nut leis, locally made chocolates, and mini bottles of Hawaiian rum. Steve designed beautiful, hand-painted wooden ornaments with each guest's name, while I put together booklets of Hawaiian phrases and customs. The process was time-consuming and more expensive than we initially anticipated. We had to order supplies in bulk, deal with shipping delays, and redo several items that didn't meet Maria's exacting standards. By the time we finished, Steve and I had spent around $2,000 on materials alone, not counting the hours of labor we put in. A month before the wedding, Maria called me, bubbling with excitement. Her parents, who had initially offered to pay for just the venue, had decided to cover the entire cost of the wedding as a gift. Maria was ecstatic because it meant she and Ryan could upgrade several aspects of their wedding, like hiring a live band instead of a DJ and adding a photo booth. I was genuinely happy for Maria, but I also saw an opportunity. I mentioned that Steve and I had already spent quite a bit on the wedding favors, and suggested that maybe she could reimburse us for the materials since she now had extra money in her budget. Maria got quiet and then said she'd think about it. A week later, Maria called again, but this time her tone was completely different. She sounded annoyed and accused me of being greedy. She argued that as her maid of honor and best friend, I should be willing to contribute to her special day without expecting anything in return. She reminded me of all the times she had been there for me, like when she helped me move apartments or when she supported me through my breakup with my ex-boyfriend 2 years ago. I was hurt and confused by her reaction. I tried to explain that $1,000 was a significant amount for me, especially with the added costs of traveling to Hawaii for the wedding, buying a bridesmaid dress, and all the other expenses that come with being in a wedding party. But Maria wouldn't budge. She accused me of trying to ruin her wedding and said she was disappointed in me for putting money above our friendship. The situation escalated when Steve found out about Maria's refusal to reimburse us. He was furious, feeling that Maria was taking advantage of our friendship. He threatened to not attend the wedding, saying he couldn't support someone who treated her friends this way. Maria's response was to uninvite both of us, claiming she didn't want negative energy at her wedding. Now, 3 weeks before the wedding, I'm left feeling hurt, angry, and $1,000 poorer. The money is a significant hit to my savings, which I'd been building up to finally take that photography course I've been dreaming about for years. Steve is encouraging me to sell the wedding favors online to recoup our costs, but I feel that would be a petty move and might permanently damage my friendship with Maria. Our friend group is divided over the issue. Some, like our college friend Mia, 32F, are siding with Maria, saying that as her maid of honor, I should have been willing to spend the money as a gift. Others, like our former roommate Tyler, 33M, think Maria is being unreasonable and entitled. I'm torn about what to do. Maria and I have been through so much together, from celebrating job promotions to consoling each other through family troubles. She was there for me when my dad was diagnosed with cancer 2 years ago, spending nights with me at the hospital and helping me manage work while I cared for him. Can I really throw away over a decade of friendship over this? But at the same time, I can't help but feel that Maria's behavior has revealed a selfish side of her that I've never seen before. Is this who she truly is? Or is it just wedding stress bringing out the worst in her? I'm at a loss. Should I try to make amends and salvage our friendship? Should I follow Steve's advice and sell the wedding favors to recoup our costs? Or should I just cut my losses and move on, accepting that sometimes friendships run their course? Any advice would be greatly appreciated. I feel like I'm losing not just my best friend, but a part of my history and identity as well. Update 1. It's been 2 weeks since my original post, and I want to thank everyone for their advice and support. Your perspectives have really helped me navigate this difficult situation. A lot has happened, and I wanted to give you all an update. After much reflection, I decided to reach out to Maria one last time. I sent her a long email explaining my feelings and why I felt hurt by her actions. I reminisced about our friendship from the time we first met at freshman orientation, bonding over our shared love for obscure indie bands, to the support we've given each other through various life challenges. I emphasized that I valued our friendship and wanted to find a way to resolve this issue. To my surprise, Maria responded within a few hours. Her email was a mix of apology and justification. She admitted that she had been stressed about the wedding and took it out on me unfairly. She confessed that the pressure of planning a destination wedding, combined with trying to impress Ryan's wealthy family, had been overwhelming her. However, she still maintained that as her maid of honor, I should have been willing to cover the cost of the favors as a show of support. We agreed to meet for coffee at our old favorite cafe, the same place where we used to study during college and later catch up when our busy lives kept us apart. Walking in, I was flooded with memories of late-night study sessions and weekend brunches spent gossiping about our latest crushes. The conversation was tense at first. Maria looked tired, with dark circles under her eyes that her usual flawless makeup couldn't quite hide. She revealed that she felt immense pressure from Ryan's family to have a perfect wedding. His sisters had both had lavish ceremonies, and she felt she needed to measure up. This pressure had led her to upgrade various aspects of the wedding when her parents offered to cover the full cost. She also confessed that she was embarrassed to ask her parents for more money to cover the favors. Apparently, Ryan's mother had made some comments about Maria's family not being as well off as theirs, and Maria was sensitive about appearing cheap or unable to handle the expenses of marrying into their family. I listened to Maria's explanations, trying to understand her perspective. I could see how the stress and pressure had affected her, but I also felt that it didn't entirely excuse her behavior. I explained that while I understood her situation, $1,000 was a significant amount for me. I told her about the photography course I had been saving up for, and how this unexpected expense had set back my plans. We went back and forth for a while, rehashing old memories and discussing how our friendship had changed since Maria started dating Ryan. There were tears on both sides as we confronted some hard truths about how we had drifted apart. Eventually, we reached a compromise. Maria agreed to reimburse me for half of the cost of the favors, $500, and reinstate my invitation to the wedding. She explained that she couldn't invite Steve back because she felt his threat to not attend was too hurtful, and she worried his presence might create tension with Ryan, who had taken offense at Steve's reaction. I accepted this compromise with mixed feelings. On one hand, I was relieved to have some of the financial burden lifted and to be included in the wedding again. Maria had been such a big part of my life for so long, and the thought of missing her wedding had been painful. On the other hand, I felt guilty about Steve still being excluded, and I worried about how this would affect my friendship with him. When I told Steve about the outcome of my meeting with Maria, he was surprisingly understanding. He encouraged me to attend the wedding and maintain my friendship with Maria, saying he didn't want to come between us. However, he made it clear that he no longer wanted to be friends with Maria, feeling that her actions had shown her true colors. This put me in an awkward position, feeling caught between my two closest friends. Steve and I had grown closer through this whole ordeal, and I valued his friendship immensely. The thought of having to navigate separate friendships with Maria and Steve in the future was daunting. As for the wedding favors, Maria asked if we could still use them for the wedding. I agreed, but I decided to keep the extra special ones that Steve and I had made as a memento of our friendship and the work we put into them. Looking at the hand-painted wooden ornaments Steve had crafted, each one unique and beautiful, I felt a pang of sadness that he wouldn't be there to see guests appreciate his work. The wedding is now just a week away, and I'm feeling a mix of emotions as I prepare to fly to Hawaii. I'm trying to focus on being there for Maria on her big day, but I can't help feeling like our friendship has fundamentally changed. The easy comfort and trust we once shared seems to have been replaced by a fragile truce. I'm also apprehensive about how I'll fit in with the other bridesmaids, knowing that they're aware of the drama that's unfolded. Will they welcome me back into the fold, or will I feel like an outsider? As I pack my bags for Hawaii, I find myself reflecting on how much has changed since Maria and I first met. We're not the same carefree college girls who dreamed of taking on the world together. We've grown up, our lives have taken different paths, and maybe this whole wedding drama is just a symptom of how much we've grown apart. I'll update again after the wedding to let you know how it all turns out. Thank you again for all your support and advice. It's been incredibly helpful to have this community to turn to during such a confusing and emotional time. Update 2, I'm back from Hawaii, and wow, what a roller coaster of emotions this trip has been. The wedding itself was beautiful, but the events surrounding it have left me with a lot to process. I arrived in Hawaii 2 days before the wedding, the humid air hitting me as soon as I stepped off the plane. The resort where the wedding was being held was stunning, with pristine beaches and lush tropical gardens. Under different circumstances, I would have been thrilled to spend a week in such a paradise. Maria seemed happy to see me when I arrived, greeting me with a hug that felt only slightly forced. However, there was an undeniable tension between us. The other bridesmaids, who knew about our falling out, were polite but distant. I felt like an outsider in a group I used to consider close friends. I tried to focus on my duties as maid of honor, helping with last-minute preparations and keeping Maria calm. It was strange to be back in this role after everything that had happened. Part of me was glad to be included, while another part felt like I was playing a part in a performance. The day before the wedding, during the rehearsal dinner, I overheard a conversation that made my stomach drop. Maria's mother was talking to Ryan's aunt, gushing about how generous Maria had been with the money they had given her for the wedding. She mentioned that Maria had used some of the extra funds to upgrade their honeymoon suite and extend their stay in Hawaii for an extra week. I was shocked. Maria had told me she couldn't afford to fully reimburse me for the favors, yet she had money for these luxuries? I felt a surge of anger and betrayal, but I forced myself to stay calm. I didn't want to cause drama right before her wedding. The ceremony the next day was admittedly beautiful. It was held on the beach at sunset, with the sound of waves providing a soothing backdrop. Maria looked stunning in her designer gown, and even I had to admit that Ryan looked at her with genuine love and adoration. As I stood beside Maria during the ceremony, I tried to push aside my hurt feelings and be happy for my friend. I remembered all the times we had talked about our dream weddings back in college, staying up late in our dorm room, flipping through bridal magazines and giggling over ridiculous cake toppers. This was Maria's dream coming true, even if it wasn't exactly how we had imagined it back then. During the reception, the wedding favors were a hit. Guests kept complimenting the thoughtful gifts, admiring the hand-painted ornaments and exclaiming over the local treats. Maria was beaming with pride, and I felt a mix of emotions, pride in the work Steve and I had done, but also resentment that Maria was taking full credit. After a few glasses of champagne, I finally worked up the courage to talk to Maria about what I'd overheard. I pulled her aside during a lull in the dancing, my heart pounding as I broached the subject. She initially tried to brush it off, saying her parents had surprised her with the upgrades. But when I pressed her, pointing out inconsistencies in her story, she finally admitted that she had known about the extra money all along. Maria's justification was that she felt she deserved to splurge on her honeymoon after all the stress of wedding planning. She argued that $500 was a fair compromise for the favors and that I was being petty for bringing it up during her wedding. Her words stung, especially when she implied that I was jealous of her happiness. I was hurt and angry, but I didn't want to cause a scene at her wedding. I simply told her that I felt betrayed and that I needed some time to think about our friendship. For the rest of the night, I put on a brave face for the other guests, dancing and socializing as if nothing was wrong. But inside, I was a mess of conflicting emotions. The next day, as everyone was checking out of the hotel, Maria approached me in the lobby. She tried to smooth things over, inviting me to stay a few extra days with her and Ryan, saying we could have some girl time to repair our friendship. I declined, telling her I needed space to process everything. On the flight home, I couldn't stop thinking about how much had changed. The Maria I knew in college would never have lied to me or prioritized luxury over friendship. Had she always been this way and I just hadn't seen it? Or had her relationship with Ryan and the pressure from his family changed her? Once I was back home, I met up with Steve and told him everything that had happened. He was supportive and angry on my behalf, validating my feelings of betrayal. We spent hours talking, reminiscing about our college days and wondering how we had ended up here. Steve suggested we sell some of the leftover favor supplies online to recoup more of our costs. At first, I was hesitant, feeling like it would be a final nail in the coffin of my friendship with Maria. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I needed to start prioritizing myself and my own financial well-being. I'm now avoiding Maria's calls and messages. I know I'll have to face her eventually, but right now, I need time to sort through my feelings. Every time my phone buzzes with a notification from her, I feel a mix of anger, sadness, and nostalgia. I'm at a crossroads with Maria. Part of me wants to forgive her and move past this, clinging to the memory of our long friendship and all the good times we've shared. But another part feels like this incident has revealed a fundamental selfishness in her character that I'm not sure I can overlook. As I sit in my apartment, surrounded by the few wedding favors I kept as mementos, I can't help but feel a sense of loss. Not just for the money spent, but for the friendship I thought I had. The future I once envisioned, with Maria and I growing old together, being godmothers to each other's children, suddenly seems like a naive fantasy. I'll update one more time once I've had more time to reflect and decide how to move forward. Thank you all for your continued support and advice. It means more than you know to have a place to share these feelings and get unbiased perspectives. Update 3. It's been a month since my last update, and I've finally come to a decision about my friendship with Maria. But before I get to that, let me fill you in on what's happened since I returned from Hawaii. In the weeks following the wedding, Maria continued to reach out to me. Her messages ranged from angry accusations that I had ruined her special day by confronting her about the money, to tearful apologies and pleas to talk things out. The emotional whiplash was exhausting, and I found myself dreading every notification from her. During this time, I leaned heavily on Steve for support. We ended up following through with his suggestion to sell the leftover favor supplies online. It was a bittersweet process, packaging up the items we had put so much time and effort into. But it also felt cathartic, like I was finally taking control of the situation. We managed to recoup about $300 more, which helped ease the financial strain a bit. This process brought Steve and I closer. We spent evenings sorting through supplies, reminiscing about our college days, and talking about our hopes for the future. I found myself looking forward to these sessions, appreciating Steve's steady presence and unwavering support throughout this ordeal. About 2 weeks ago, Maria showed up at my apartment unannounced. I was shocked to see her standing there, still tan from her extended Hawaiian honeymoon. She was emotional, with mascara-stained cheeks, insisting we needed to talk. Against my better judgment, I let her in. What followed was an intense conversation that lasted for hours. We sat on my couch, the same one where we used to have movie marathons and heart-to-hearts, now feeling like a stranger's furniture. Maria admitted that she had been selfish and dishonest about the money. She explained that she had felt immense pressure to have a perfect wedding, not just for herself but to impress Ryan's family. She confessed that she had gotten caught up in the excitement of being able to afford more luxuries and lost sight of what really mattered. As Maria talked, I found myself remembering all the times she had been there for me in the past. The night she stayed up with me when my grandmother passed away, the way she had championed me for a promotion at work last year, the inside jokes and shared experiences that had defined our friendship for so long. But I also couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. I told Maria how deeply her actions had hurt me, how they had made me question the foundation of our entire friendship. Was this the first time she had been dishonest with me, or just the first time I caught her? We talked about how our friendship had changed since she started dating Ryan, how we had gradually grown apart without realizing it. Maria admitted that she had been so focused on her relationship and fitting in with Ryan's social circle that she had neglected our friendship. After hours of talking, crying, and soul-searching, I've come to a decision. While I forgive Maria for her actions, I can no longer maintain the close friendship we once had. The trust between us has been too severely damaged, and I realize now that we've grown into different people with different values. I told Maria that I wish her well in her marriage and her life, but that I need to step back from our friendship. It wasn't an easy conversation, and there were more tears on both sides. Maria was upset by my decision but said she understood. We've agreed to be cordial if we run into each other through mutual friends, but we won't be actively maintaining a friendship. As for Steve, our friendship has grown stronger through this experience. We've been spending more time together, and I'm grateful for his unwavering support. There might even be potential for something more than friendship developing between us, but we're taking things slow, both aware of the delicate nature of transitioning from friends to potentially something more. This whole experience has taught me valuable lessons about setting boundaries, the importance of honesty in friendships, and standing up for myself. While it's sad to lose a longtime friend, I feel like I've gained a clearer understanding of what I want and deserve in my relationships. I've also decided to use some of the money we recoup from selling the supplies to finally sign up for that photography course I've been dreaming about. It feels good to be investing in myself and my passions. While this chapter of my life is closing, I'm looking forward to what the future holds, with new wisdom and stronger boundaries to guide me.